Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Saturday, June the 24th. Race number 7, Belmont at the Big A. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Manila. 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. $250,000 is the purse. As you can see by the morning line, it's a pretty wide open race, and it's an interesting turf debut for the 6 Deterministic, who won the Gotham. Didn't do much in his subsequent 2 starts, but has turf blood.
It's kind of the key to the race here, how he handles the switch to turf, which he is bred to do. I guess there's a chance, Dan, that this is just what Deterministic has been waiting for. And if he does really take to the turf, this is a great spot for him to try it.
Throwing up our Timeform US pace projector, no surprise that the number 1 Manningly is expected to make the lead. He has shown sprint speed. He is stretching out in distance. He's the fastest from the gate. It'll be interesting to see if a horse like Neat or Drunk on Sake, horses that have been close to the pace, can keep him company.
I wonder if they can. Certainly, it feels like the one's making the lead in here. I don't know that the 2's fast enough to go with him, but maybe he is. He's up in class here, so they just might be on ascend. Neat is fast enough to get forward. He's not an easy horse to ride, Dan. If they decide to turn him loose in here, he could certainly be right up close.
Manningly, the number 1, was a very precocious 2-year-old. Maybe his most recent performance is an indication he's slowly getting himself back into form. We're going to watch that Paradise Creek Stakes during the Belmont at the Big A meet. Now, keep in mind, this is a 3/4 of a mile race, and Manningly went to the front in there, and he just is going to hold on to finish second. He didn't have much excuse. The pace was reasonable. He just got beat by a better horse, I thought.
That's exactly how I looked at the race, too. I mean, it's not like it's a poor performance, but he also has no excuse not to win here. He made the early lead. The winner tracked off of him, and the winner was a pretty big price in this race, and he just pretty easily outfinished at the end. It's a new top figure for him, but it's, hardly a compelling performance, Dan. We'll see how he stretches out.
Drunk on Sake is the number 2, and this horse improved by leaps and bounds when switching to turf and stretching out during the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival meet at Saratoga. Let's watch that performance. Now, keep in mind, he did drop into a $40,000 maiden claiming event in this race. You liked him a lot in here, and he just never gave them a chance. This was a crafty ride by Dylan Davis, who opened up and kept on rolling.
That's true. It feels like you could have rode him in this race, though, Dan. I don't know how much credit I want to give Dylan Davis for this. He just put him on the lead, and the horse did the rest in here. He had a turf pedigree, and this was a horrendous field on paper. So it's not that surprising that he won. It's kind of surprising, though, that he earned the figure that he did and that he won by the length of the stretch. It was a pretty nice performance. This is way tougher.
Neat won the Transylvania 2 starts back at Keeneland. I thought that was a pretty solid performance. It looked like he was pulling a little bit in the early stages, prompted the pace, ended up being rated back into a good position down towards the inside, split horses. I thought it was a good effort, though, for him to finish. Last time out at Churchill Downs, kind of a wet turf course, better competition. I think he fits this race beautifully.
Yeah, I do too. It's also at least worth noting. I didn't think he ran great in the American turf last time, but that was a good field, and he was on the outside the entire way in there. And, the 1-2 finishers both just saved a ton of ground. Even the third finisher was sort of in out in there. I don't know. Maybe that's enough of an excuse. He was disappointing last time. All of his other turf routes, though, are really good. And I'm just going to agree with your take on the Transylvania, by the way. I know that ultimately that trip worked out for him, but he had a lot of things that he had to work on in there. He's just so hard to handle sometimes, Dan. He's got to get over that kind of stuff. But if he gets a good trip in there, I think he's going to be real tough.
A couple of horses from that last race did rebound to win their next start. The 4th place finisher taking a stake at Churchill with a 91 buyer. Move to Gold's up next for Chad Brown. This horse just missed in the race we're going to show you. That's the Jersey Derby at Monmouth. It's his first start off about a 2-month layoff. He kind of fell behind in the early part of this race, Mike, but he gets the seam, gets to the outside. He's going to come with a good kick to just miss.
He does kick it in here very late. He was last early in here, Dan, but he had some pace in front of him in this race, and he puts in a solid late run. He's just going to miss here. I think the horses that he's getting to at the end, I think they're both pretty good. I just like the Jersey Derby overall, and I like all of his turf races. I kind of feel like you're not supposed to take a short price on him because there's no pace in this race, really. It'll probably be at the back. I think this horse is pretty good, though, and I think this is a great spot for him.
Never off the board from 4 starts, already a stakes winner on this surface for trainer Chad Brown. Please Advise is the number 5. I just think this horse just hasn't had the right trips in his last 2 races. They ran him in the English Channel at Gulfstream. He was very tight in between horses in the late stages of that race. I think that hurt him. And last time out at Penn National, they made a big early move into contention with him, and then he flattened out. Distance, I think, is still a little bit of a question mark. I wonder if this horse is slightly better sprinting, but I'm willing to
Mhm.
give him the benefit of the doubt, considering he's only attempted it a few times and has had trouble in those races.
That's fair enough. I'm not a huge fan of this horse. I do wonder if he's just not going to ultimately be a sprinter. But everything else, your points about his route races are very well taken. I didn't love his Penn Mile last time, but you're right. He did move early and he was wide, and I just didn't think it was a great field. And I didn't know how much of an excuse to really give him. And it's just not like he's going to be a great price in here, Dan. So I went looking elsewhere.
And here's Deterministic, a horse that a lot of eyes are going to be on. He was very impressive winning his 2-year-old debut on dirt at Saratoga. He was game and strong winning the Gotham over a wet track, a very wet track in his first start of the year. And then he didn't do very well in the Wood Memorial and the Peter Pan. Maybe he was simply overmatched. I mean, this is class relief for him, and he's bred for turf. The dam won 3 turf races. The dam's a half to a graded stakes place turf router. So there's plenty of pedigree here.
Yeah, there's tons of turf on the. I mean, actually, the entire female family is turf
Yeah.
horses and really, really good turf horses. So it is not going to be a surprise when he makes this surface switch, and you realize it's exactly what this horse has been waiting for. His debut was good. His Gotham was good. His last 2 races are not good against better horses, and now they're going to make the surface switch, which you you kind of get the feeling that maybe Clement's been waiting for this all along, and now he gets the chance to do it. I don't know, man. He's making the surface switch with pedigree. I bet those horses usually when they're going to be really good prices. This horse is not going to be a really good price, but I won't be surprised when he wins.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Manila. You're going with the Chad runner, Move to Gold, just very consistent, a horse that acts like he's going to be running strongly in the stretch.
Yeah, he's going to need the right trip in here, but I think it's a very good spot for this horse, and I'm just going to take him on top. I just didn't really love anybody else in this field, Dan. We'll see what kind of price he is.
Like you, I think Deterministic probably is going to handle turf. I think he's going to be too short a price for me to bet. I wonder if pace makes the race and Mattingly can go to the front. And how many times have we seen it in New York where a jock just walks the dog on the lead and sprints on home? I'm curious to see what we get from Please Advise. Like you, I'm not really his biggest fan, but I think he might sort of get lost in the shuffle from a wagering standpoint. 4-6-3-1 for Mike, 1-5-4-2 for me. Good edition of the Grade 3 Manila. We'll see how Deterministic likes the turf.